There we are live. All right. There we go. It's always good to test out your videos before you go live, right?
Oh my God, it's a 4-2-5 defense. All you gotta do is blitz more. All they gotta do is fire Eric Glenn, and then you can start winning again. You're so stupid.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
How about that catch by Dan Skipper?
Tight end one.
Hail to the king, baby.
Here's the thing, though. What I've been doing is 3:30 every morning. That's I get up and I do my sprints. Yeah, I mean, those are prime sprinting hours. People don't realize. And that's how I know I'm succeeding, is if I'm doing my sprints while everyone else is asleep. It's a winning mindset is what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Peace up, A-Town. Yeah! Okay! Usher. Lil Jon! Yeah!
I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
It reminds me of a football show, Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. in the mornings. You should watch it because it could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
Good morning, everybody. All right, here we go. Good morning, Jordan. Good morning, Dwayne and Henry. Mike the Bear fan. Jordan Jeffrey Addison is present and or let's go Lions. It's PFF Tuesday. Ooh, there we go. There we go. I got the last night's thing still up. What a great show. The very last NFC North open mic was last night. At least for this season right here. My name is Russell Wayne, and this is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. We're broadcasting live right now into Detroit Lions news. Thank you, Joe Chap and the boys right there. They put out great content right there. And we're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. We are rapidly approaching 20,000 villains. We're almost at 19 right now, but we are pushing for 20,000 villains before we get to this Sunday night playoffs. This playoff game, this weekend, man. It's playoffs already. I can't even believe this. And I am joined, as always, by my compadre, Main Event Mike. How are you doing this morning?
Say hello to my little friend.
Hail to the victors, my friend.
Hail to the victors. Yeah, I mean, I got to give you some kudos. My mortal enemy, if any of these Michigan fanboys are out there, you guys can be fanboys. You guys won the national championship. That is very impressive. Now, like Jim Harbaugh says, he can go sit at the big boy table at his house now with all the championships. I like that he had said that after the game was over. But go ahead, man. You get the floor first, dude. Go ahead and gloat it up.
Oh man, it feels so good. If you're out there and you're a Michigan fan, congratulations. I mean, most fan bases are lucky to ever experience this one time in their life, folks. I'm fortunate now to experience my second national championship for my team. So if you're a Michigan fan, enjoy it. It's a natty, boys. It's a natty. Doesn't come along every day. Congratulations to Team 144.
I love it. I mean, I don't love it because I'm not a Michigan fan, but I love it from the point is that, you know, you guys get to do that. You guys do get to beat your chest, and it is hard to win a national championship. And congratulations to all my Michigan fan friends. Not to Michigan. I'm not going to give Michigan, but I did win some money on the game. I had a either way type of feel good either way because, you know, I can be a hater, but I didn't have to be a hater. I got to enjoy and wipe my Ohio State fan national championship tears out of my eyes with that $100 bill that I won off that game yesterday. So I'm feeling a little bit better about it.
Yeah, I've won money on the Buckeyes before, so I totally understand that feeling. Well, I mean, this is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. It doesn't say pro football talk. So let's just glaze over this real quick before we jump into PFF Tuesday, right? The playoffs are upon us. We got a lot of pro football to talk about. So let's just read you the box scores for that Michigan National Championship. Heisman Trophy runner-up Michael Penix Jr., quarterback for the Washington Huskies, badgered all night long. Michigan only registered one sack, but they knocked him on his ass many times. You couldn't count on two hands how many times he got hit last night. He was, by the fourth quarter, he was beaten down. He completed 27 passes on 51 attempts. That just shows he was throwing off his back foot all night because the rush was coming on him. And Michigan was able to get pressure with only four guys consistently in the game. And that's what we always talk about on this program about the pro ranks, right? You've got to be able to rush for, especially when you're playing a good pocket passer that can roll you up and carve you up if you're not covering on the back end. So 27 of 51 for one touchdown and two interceptions. You know, the guy seems like an injury report waiting to happen. I'm not sure I would draft this guy. A repaired ACL, a repaired shoulder. Last night he's hurt. And I mean, this guy gets hurt. Okay, I'm not sure about him. Oh, absolutely talented. but I'm not sure if he's durable enough for the pro ranks. We'll have to wait and see on that. They were only able to manage 46 yards rushing. The Michigan defense, that's the real story of this game. Michigan, and kudos to Jim Harbaugh and the recruiters at Michigan. They got back to what Michigan football has always been, running the football and playing great defense. Even without All-American Zach Zinter on the offensive line, they were able to roll up 303 rushing yards. J.J. McCarthy only had to throw the ball 18 times, 140 yards. He had 10 completions. Blake Corum, stud running back, he'll be playing on Sundays next year. 21 carries for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Donovan Edwards, which I predicted Donovan Edwards was going to have a big game. He only had 6 carries. He had 104 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He was awesome.
Yeah, the Washington Huskies were just outmatched in this game. They were scrappy, though. Their defense especially, really, really scrappy. Even though they gave up a lot of run yards, they were taking the pass away from the Michigan Wolverines. And, both teams struggled on third down. Michigan just 1 of 10 on third down. Punters got a lot of work. Washington 2 of 14 on third down. Final score 34-13. It really wasn't that close. Michigan seemed to have the game in hand the entire time. There it is. Michigan national champions 2023.
So I got to echo that. I was watching that game yesterday, and I was just wondering, it's like, God, every time they handed the ball to Edwards or Corum, it seemed like they ran for 30 yards. So it was like, I didn't understand why he even passed the ball 18 times. I was just like, gosh, if you can't, it kind of reminded me of the Michigan team from last year where everyone was like, man, why isn't McCarthy passing the ball? They'd run the ball like 80 times in a game. And I felt like that's what they could have done to Washington, and they did pull away in that game. Because they did have that game dominant the entire time. I was telling my son Hunter came in. I was like, man, this Washington team isn't there. Like they're just not going to measure up. They're not going to be able to win a 4-quarter battle with these big offensive and defensive linemen. It just isn't going to happen. And that's where the real story was to me, is Michigan dominated the line of scrimmage really on both sides of the ball. And yeah, they are scrappy, but yeah, there you go. Put it to bed. So here's what I want to ask you guys that are out there. If you watched the game last night, which one of these players from the national championship do you want on your team? I mean, there's got to be, 10, 15, 20 draft picks that are on both sides of those balls. Penix Jr., I think he just ran into a defense. I'm not too worried about him in the NFL scheme. He's got the build. I mean, he's got skill. He's got ability. And Michigan just shut him down. Their cornerbacks were insanely good. And to me, that's who it is to me. Like, I would love to see what's his name? The cornerback. What's his name?
Johnson. Will Johnson.
Yeah. Will Johnson. That I would love to see Will Johnson in a Honolulu blue uniform next year, because we need somebody like him that can just, lock down number 1, number 2 wide receivers, in my opinion.
Yeah. For me, I think it might be a guy from Washington, Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze, 5 catches, 87 yards. He put up 87 yards against that secondary. Okay. Some of those passes were not good, and he was able to make a play. He was able to find soft spots in the zone and get this kid looks really good. I think he would look great in the slot on an NFL team to start with. So Mikey Sandersill, Makari Page, some of these guys, you're going to see these guys playing on Sundays. But for me, I think it's Rome Odunze. I would like to see that guy. I mean, I know the Lions don't need receivers at this point like that, but he really stood out to me as a really, really good looking prospect. Blake Corum. Hey, Blake Corum. Kid's going to be a good run back. Going to be a good bowling ball running back in the NFL.
He hits that hole. I mean, it's so cool how, like, I liked watching Blake Corum play yesterday, because it's like he'd come up to that and put to a stop, and all of a sudden he'd see that gas, pow, and he'd be right through that thing and 5 yards down the field. And yeah, he's going to be a good Jason says, we forgive you, Russell. Nobody can be perfect. Hey, I've already experienced the national title thing. I got to do that in 14 under Urban Meyer, and I do know how you feel, Mike. And, it is what it is. You guys have gotten us 3 years in a row, and I have nothing to say. We have an entire class next year. This is going to be scary for Ohio State fans because here's a brand new freshman class coming in that is going to be around a whole bunch of people that have never beaten Michigan. Like, there's nobody on the team anymore. They all graduated. So, yeah, that's scary times. That's scary times. Elise Meme says, good morning. Go Blue. Congratulations to Michigan. Let's look at all this Michigan love you got in here. There, Scotty, Jason Smith. There you go. There you go. And it's okay. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. And I'm seeing Will Johnson in there. Nobody really wants to bite on that topic right there. So let's get into the PFF stuff for this week.
Let's talk about
unless
it.
You got something out. Yeah, let's talk.
No,
let's start.
It's PFF Tuesday here on Football Talk with Russell Wayne. So let's get it rolling.
Well, first of all, I want to start with our Detroit Lions, and they defeated the Minnesota Vikings 30-20, and really the game wasn't even that close. It was like they just kept on they had their feet on the gas, and they just kept on sticking their feet on the gas, like dangling a little carrot behind them, but they never really got close. So let's look at these scores right here. And you have the box score set up, and then we just kind of want to compare and contrast these things. Hutchinson again. Here's Hutchinson at the end of the season. He's like the guy that you want in a heavyweight fight because, it seems like he gets stronger and stronger as the season goes on. And that's pretty damn cool. 91.1. Reeves Maben with another great game. Ifeatu Melifonwu. Levi owns Arike. Hello.
Levi sighting. I was thinking about this last night. Levi, a graduate of the University of Washington, and Aiden Hutchinson, a graduate of the University of Michigan. I wonder if those two were together watching the game last night.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But that was I'm proud of Levi in here. We definitely needed some help in the middle, and Tutu Alalulu did not play very well. And it was nice to know that our draft pick, our second round draft pick, is having he just had his best game as a pro. Aleem McNeil at a 73.2, and Brian Branch, man, what an outstanding rookie year. It's not like he's going to win defensive rookie of the year or anything, but wow, what a stud to get in the second round of the draft. And then we got some laughable day. There's the Will Harris sighting that Jeremy B's been wanting to talk about. 44.4, Cameron Sutton got abused. 46.2, Tyson Alulababa.
Alu.
Gesundheit. Alua. 36.2. Benito Jones has struggled for the last couple of weeks. It's great to know that we got Aleem McNeil back going into the playoffs. So any thoughts on those scores, Mike?
Just what you touched on. It's great to see Levi on this list, right? After 2 or 3, it's been 3 years now, and we finally get to see him on this list. That is definitely encouraging. What is not encouraging is to see two guys from our secondary, 44.4 and 46.2, especially Cam Sutton, our number one cornerback. This secondary is definitely suspect. And when you've got Puka Nacua, or as our good friend Chad calls him, Pikachu, and you've got Cooper Kupp coming into town with the most talented arm maybe the NFL's ever seen, it's why Pat Amick says here, why is everyone picking the Rams? Am I missing something? Because I see the Lions are going to be flying around. Missed the playoffs last year. Now we're there. I feel bad for the Rams. And that's one way to look at it, Pat. But look at these PFF duds. Will Harris, Cam Sutton. Right.
Okay, I have to defend two. I have to defend two of these people right here, just because, like, one thing I don't have on there. Will Harris only played 4 snaps, and Benito Jones only played 10 snaps. So
but it's indicative. It's indicative of what we're looking at on this team.
Well, and you look at these scores, and that may be the reason why Will Harris only played 4 snaps.
If you're relying on Kindle Vildor to cover Cooper Kupp, you're in trouble. Period.
Oh, for sure. This is, and I understand the frustration on that. Like, I mean, people are just looking at Matt Stafford and just saying, "Oh, Matt Stafford's going to kick your ass," and that isn't. Lions are a better team, guys. I mean, I don't get. We have some weaknesses in our secondary. The Rams have weaknesses all over their entire defense. Our offense should be able to score at will on the LA Rams. So this. Like the worst case scenario is we get into a shootout and then we get at the end of the game with Matt Stafford, right? But we could win this game a lot like we just won the Minnesota game, where you kind of get out a little bit ahead and then you just keep on driving the car real fast. So that's the way that I think that they would win this game. But Lions fans got to get out there and fan for their team. You guys shouldn't be scared. We're in the playoffs now, right? Should be scared of anything. You should be scared of all of these teams.
You know what you should not be scared of, though? Hitting the like button. You should not be scared of hitting the like button. I see 41 here on my platform and only 12 likes. Why don't you be cool like Cindy Burton or Michael Presnell, Linda McGrath, Dave Eastman, Scott Bivens? Thank you. Reach down and hit that like button if you're watching, because it kind of helps us out a little bit. We appreciate it. Sorry to sidetrack you there, brother.
Oh, no, it's all right. I mean, it allows us to reach more football fans. Like, when we started this thing, we didn't think anybody cared. You know, I actually came on here to practice, and then all of a sudden, a bunch of people show up and they want to watch the show. So it's like, okay, we better get good. We better try to be entertaining or something, because we definitely don't know anything about football. So we better get our poop in a group. Let's go.
Check out this comment by Jordan. What a great call out this is. We're seeing a lot more pass rush and pressures and sacks lately. That helps make up for a shaky secondary. You're absolutely right, Jordan. That's the only way you're going to overcome your shaky secondary, is to not give those receivers so much time to get open. Don't give that quarterback enough time to find them, because believe me, Matt Stafford will find them.
Well, two of the touchdowns that they threw, the one to Addison and the one to one of the ones to Justin Jefferson, it's like, you can blame the secondary. I mean, they got burnt on those plays, but the play call that the Lions made on those plays were to get to the quarterback. They blitzed 6 on both of those, and Mullins burnt them. He chucked the ball down the field and threw it to a wide. I mean, you do got to cover those guys, but Kendall Vildor is never going to be able to cover Justin Jefferson. Kendall Vildor with Kirby Joseph over the top isn't going to be able to cover Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb. So the Lions are obviously using a pressure type of situation. They're going to do the same thing to Stafford. They're going to try to get him to get the ball out of his hand fast and force him into a mistake. And that's how we've been getting turnovers. So, yeah. From stat wise, it looks like you got abused in the secondary, but you know, that's the part you could put on Aaron Glenn. He tried a blitz and it didn't work, you know.
Right. I love this call too by Jeffrey. Our defense may be the healthiest it's been since week 1. Stafford will have pressure. Expect a couple of picks. That could be the difference in the game. That's a good call out too. What a great take that is. Right. Because we've seen Matt Stafford. He'll press. Right. If he's pressured, he'll press. He'll throw a pick. He's a gunslinger. That gunslinger mentality. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that's a great call out, Jeffrey.
And we have to stop the run, guys. Like, we've been stopping the run all year, so I am not really worried about Kyron Williams. I know that he's been an awesome rookie, but we've taken every single running back and been able to shorten everything on that. So if we can make Matt Stafford one-dimensional, he'll be the Matt Stafford that was here in Detroit. Yep. I mean, we had a pretty good receiver here too, in Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, those guys were okay.
They were all right. So it's not like Stafford hasn't had weapons galore before.
Good point.
And lost.
And one more before you move on. One point that Jeffrey made in that comment too is the defense may be the healthiest they've been all year. At this time of year, all teams are banged up, nicked up. It's been a rough, long season. We're getting James Houston back. We're getting him fresh. That could be a difference maker, okay? Aleem McNeil looked pretty good in his first game back. I expect he'll look even better this weekend.
Right.
So there we go. Yeah.
So let's get on this side of the studs on offense go and even I even put these two guys on on defense right there in the middle. Glasgow had another bad game. That actually is pretty concerning to me, especially dealing with Aaron Donald this week. He's got to have a step up game here because they're going to need all the help they can get. James Mitchell actually graded out low there. I had to throw him on there just because he was in the 50s, but he did have a 75 pass blocking grade, James Mitchell. So I just wanted to point that out on the duds because we really didn't have very many duds. But look at all those studs, dude. You got Frankie, you got Skipper, you got Laporta. Goff, again, proving again that he's a top 10 quarterback easily in this league. Taylor Decker, Khalif Raymond, Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's I love it. I love our offense. I think our offense is the best in the league all the way around. Most balanced attack. I think we're the most dangerous and most complete offense that anybody's going to face in the playoffs. So love it. Love those scores. Love those scores.
That Sam Laporta likely to miss the game. They're saying by the knee. There's a lot of chatter out there about bringing in Zach Ertz or some other tight end to plug the hole. I just can't see that happening. Hopefully Brock Wright can get back in there, and it will at least have Brock Wright and James Mitchell and Jason Kabinda.
Well, we did report yesterday that that there is a chance that Laporta does play this week. Right. That we are not talking about days. We are not talking about weeks. We are talking about days here. So 60% of Sam Laporta is better than anything that we can put out there. So that's just the truth. I'm sorry, guys. And I understand the long-term injury thing, but this is the dance. Like, you don't get to come back next week. Oh, well, let's see what happens. No, we don't. We don't get to see that. Like, you got to win. You got to win this week. And I don't want them to risk his injury, but if he can go and they can pull the swelling out, because I was listening to a couple of people talking about, they were ex-football players. Chris Long was talking about how they used to just take liquid, and right now it's like his knee swells up and they got to drain liquid out and get ice on it. So it's incredibly annoying, but he could play on hyperextensions. So, what do you think? What do you think about that? Missing Sam Laporta, that would be a big thing. Let's get into these other ones. We're sidetracking because we can get into talking about these playoff games. Let's get through these numbers right here. The Vikings were not good on offense right there. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, obviously, he's a stud. I mean, you're going to want to keep him. But look at all those duds. Nick Mullins didn't have a good game. You can see where we were able to take advantage of that defense right there. Nick Mullins, KJ Osborne didn't have a good game. Josh Oliver, and he's usually their stud tight end. He's usually at the top right there, and they were able to keep them in check in that way. And then on, oh, wait a minute. I got the wrong.
Yeah, Josh Oliver didn't have a good game, but Johnny Munt did.
There you go. All right. But Johnny
Munt, he's not listed here, but he was the other tight end that played, and he had a good game.
Well, he may have had a good game in stats. Let's look at Johnny Munt here. Let's see what Johnny Munt did on offense. That's a good question right there. Yeah, Johnny Munt was graded. Okay, he was a 70.5 at catching the ball, 63.3 overall. Was not a very good run blocker. That was Johnny Munt. So he had a decent game in receiving. Now, as we move on to the Chicago versus Green Bay game.
Oh, you just passed over that last slide, which was the Viking defense. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There we go. I keep on because I went through these, and like the losing teams, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm not going to sit here and shit on your team. Ivan Pace and Danielle Hunter, Danielle Hunter were your only two good players. Everybody else got owned. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you according to that, but all of those guys had bad games, and you're looking Cannon, Bynum, Metellus, Harrison Smith, all of these guys that you really, really like, that you liked 3 weeks ago that you're not liking now, or you're saying PFF is full of shit and I'm just being a butthole. Whatever. I don't know. But I'm trying my best not to crap on you, but we kicked your ass.
We do have a request in the comments for Panay Sewell's PFF grade.
Okay.
As you can see, Daniil Hunter was listed as a stud for the Vikings, and he went against Panay all game long. So it would be interesting to know what that is. I lost the comment. Whoever you were, thank you for the comment. I lost it. I can't find it over here.
Okay, so let's look in here. Let's go find
Panay Sewell.
Panay Sewell.
Panay. Also my favorite pasta.
He had his first average game of the year. 60.2 was his overall grade. At pass blocking, he was a 62.7. So, like, what's funny is like a bad game for Panay Sewell is just him being okay. And that's the best that you're going to get against him.
Going against a Pro Bowler with 17 sacks, by the way.
Going against a Pro Bowler with 17 sacks, Panay may have an average game, but he's still going to get the job done. And they did. For the Packers right here, the Packers had a great game. They have complete ownership of the Chicago Bears and all that crap that the Chicago Bears talked all year long about how they're going to come and be above the waiting for this game at the end of the season, try to avenge that loss. You guys fell flat, and the Green Bay Packers just kicked your ass. Just kicked your ass. Young team. I mean, I'm not feeling too good. The Packers defense, look at that. I can't even put duds on there. There wasn't even a guy that graded below 55 on either side of the Packers defense or offense.
Mm-hmm. They are playing good. Playing good going into the playoffs. Just what you want.
There. Look at that. Jair Alexander. Look at all those studs right there. And then on offense, you're looking at all these guys. Runyon, Jones, Mountain, all the Wicks, Musgrave, Kraft. Both of the tight ends that you drafted are on the top. Kudos to Matt LaFleur. I hate you, dude. I hate that you're that damn good. And I wanted to see you fall. And you proved me wrong. You butthole. Anyway. Let's go to the Bears defense. There you go. You got three guys that were. I put Montez Sweat in there because he was close to 70, but you just didn't play well. And there's all the duds that are in there: DeMarcus Walker, Terrell Smith, Gervin Dexter, all these guys that you want to count on that are your young players that you want to be stud. Just got owned by the Green Bay young defense and offense too. So you got really no excuse. Well, we're young. Well, they were young too, and they kicked your ass.
Mm-hmm. Kudos to Packer fans. The expectations for your team were very low. You exceeded those expectations. You secure the number 7 seed. You make it to the playoffs. It's a tough road to hoe now. If you win in Dallas, you're going to have to go to San Francisco and win. If the Lions can win those 2 games and somehow Green Bay could go on a run, a hot young quarterback like Jordan Love can beat the 1 and 2 seed, the Packers would have to come to Ford Field for the NFC title game. That would be the dream matchup for Russ and I, and probably for a lot of Lions fans. That would be we would have to beat, if in that scenario, the Rams, the Eagles, and then the Packers. We get our run of the Matt Stafford, Matt LaFleur, and Matt Patricia. That would be the ideal scenario for the Detroit Lions to make the Super Bowl. Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers, good luck in the next 2 weeks.
So let's get on to this, man. I know this was from last night's, from the last open mic, but we're done with the numbers. And no offense to the Chicago Bears and Vikings, but this is something I had to learn last year when the Lions beat the Packers on the last week of the season, is nobody cared after that. So I don't really care about the Vikings offseason at this point or the Bears offseason at this. We are into playoff football. And right now it's the Packers and it's the Lions that are in the playoffs. Now, I don't want Viking fans and Bear fans to tune out. I want to know what your opinions are on these games that are relevant to the NFL. And I mean, are the Lions going to get bounced by their old quarterback? And I don't even want him to say his name. I like what Matt Derry said from Locked On Lions. I ain't even going to say his name. They got this guy that's coming in that we used to know. And somebody that I used to know is coming in here. And are we going to lose to this somebody that we used to know?
So Stafford's like Voldemort now. We don't say his name.
I'm not gonna say his name. Not until afterwards. I can't bring myself to it. He's not my quarterback anymore. And
Right.
and I'm sick of dealing with people in comments. And this is just me, man. I ain't trying to. But if you got Detroit Rams and all that stuff right there, I just don't have respect for that. I can't call you a hardcore fan. I can't say that you're a diehard fan. I can say you're a casual fan. If you own Detroit Rams stuff, you're a casual fan. You like to move your energy to something else and not feel so bad about how your team is. And it is what it is, man. I'm not trying to take anything. If you want to fan like that, you can fan like that. But I'm not wired like that. I'm not wired like that. When that quarterback left here, he became somebody else's quarterback. He's not my quarterback anymore. And I don't even, I don't care. Well, he donated so much money to the city. I don't care. This is football. This isn't church. And we'll get to that. I do believe that Stafford preaches what we preach here in faith, family, and football. And I believe that he does all the right stuff off field. I'm not going to say that, but, this is our team. This is our team. And if Stafford beats us, and I'm going to say his name. I guess I said his name. I've messed it up already. If he beats us, then you can't take any comfort in that, okay, guys? You can't go, well, I just follow Stafford. I got a problem with that. I got a problem. Can you do that? Could you do that? That's for one. If Stafford beats the Lions, or would you be able to go into the rest of the playoffs and actually root for this guy to win a Super Bowl after he eliminated the Lions because he's Matt Stafford and I like him too? Can you do that? Are you able to do that? Hell no, not to me. I mean, he wants to become public enemy number one to me. You want me to hate you, Matt Stafford? We will hate you. The real diehard Lion fan will absolutely hate your ass if you come in here and win after all that losing year after year after year, not advancing in the playoffs. And then finally we get a home playoff game and you come in and beat us. Woo! You want to leave a bad taste, but that ain't going to happen. We got 53 guys on our team.
Right. Absolutely. But to your point, that would be, I mean, this is what the NFL wanted, right? This is what everyone's saying. This is the script.
They want to devastate the Lions again. Mm-hmm. It's like it's the thing. Like
So here, let's post this question right here out to the viewers. On a scale of 1 to 10, how scared are you that Matt Stafford will come in and eliminate the Lions from their first playoff game? I'm maybe a 6. I'm a 6 worried, but because I suffer terribly from PTSOL.
And I'm still way below 5. I'm 3 or 4. I don't think they have enough. I look at both of these teams. This team, this Stafford's team, went on a run against teams that weren't that good, and playing against Carson Wentz, or Carson Wentz playing against the backup with them resting, all of that stuff takes into consider. Now look at the last 5-6 games that Stafford played, right? He did put up a lot of offense, but look at that defense. They were giving up 30 a game. This is not Super Bowl winning LA Rams, guys. There is no Von Miller. There is no Jalen Ramsey. This is not the same team.
Right. But like Jean says here, that shit would hurt if Matt beat us.
Absolutely. This would be me. That would be me right now. If Matt's that, I will be here. I'll be crying because the Lions fans are the best fans on planet Earth. And if you put yourself and you emotionally invest into a team, it hurts when you get eliminated. Now, when you've been used to getting bounced in December every year and you're not playing me, it doesn't mean as much, right? You're just, whatever, it's the Lions. But now that there's actually hardcore fans that are out there that are emotionally invested into this team, that actually believe that this team can win the Super Bowl, which I believe they can, and you believe that they can. Yeah, getting bounced in the first round would turn me into this. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. Well, we posed a question, and I want to reward those people that know how to follow directions. So Trev says, ain't no one scared. That means he's not. Daryl says he's a 2 on that scale. And Ken says 7. If we can't pressure or cover, it'll be a long day. We have to have our fingers crossed that Hutchinson has a good day. Dave Eastman says it's a 4 for him. So there you go. Thanks to everybody who knows how to follow directions. It's time to pay some bills now. Hey, you're watching Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Be sure to follow our Facebook page if you're not already. It is Lions Villain Squad, VILLAIN, Lions Villain Squad on Facebook. Follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at Main Event 365. That's MANE at Main Event 365. And if you're in a generous mood, join our Patreon, like our good friend Fred Peterson, who says that it's worth every nickel of 50 cents a day. So it helps us a lot. And don't forget, we are an affiliate marketing partner of NFLshop.com. So if you're looking for any NFL swag to get you ready for the playoffs, like that 68 eligible jersey, you can use our link and get 25% off.
And you know what's great about that eligible jersey? I mean, it's a good joke, but you know what? You're telling all the ladies, like, hey.
Henry says you didn't show any YouTube comments. Henry said you didn't show any YouTube comments about that question. I would like to see those. Russ, how do I do that? How do I see that?
There you come in. You have all of those. Oh. So was there any YouTube?
Oh, he's just saying I cherry picked ones that weren't YouTube. Okay, I get it now. I can see here on the right, the little icon, who's watching on what.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah. But he did anybody else hit the, he said.
What's that?
I'm just like, he did not do anything to cheer for them. So let's keep it that way. I'm just looking for YouTube comments. Who said it?
Well, that's Henry said that. Henry Gray said right here, says you didn't show any YouTube comments about that question. I don't see anybody giving me a number from YouTube, Henry. Sorry about that. What do we got next, Russ?
Oh, wait, there we go. Boom. Chad from YouTube.
Chad says, I'm a 5.
Yeah, he's right in the middle. I mean, that's fair. That's probably where most people are, right in the middle. Like, God, I mean, obviously it's frightening. What about Stafford isn't frightening? I mean, we know what he can do. This dude, it's like, if there's 2 minutes left, it's like, oh my God. You want to talk about me being okay with Dan Campbell going for it on 4th down? As opposed to giving the ball to Stafford? Yeah.
And I think you just touched on something that no one's talking about. We might see the most aggressive Dan Campbell we've ever seen with a playoff game in Ford Field. He wants this, he wants this as bad or more than we do. So we might see him really, really get aggressive in this game.
All right. Now, I mean, we can come back to this if you want to, but I do want to switch gears right here to this other game right here, because this is such an intriguing question to me for especially for Lion fans. Who do you root for in this game where you could really just say, I want both of these teams to lose? Like, I want revenge on both of these teams. I can't. Honestly, I keep going back and forth in my mind with who I want to win this game. I honestly think that I want a piece of those Cowboys, dude. And I know that we lost on Thanksgiving to this team, and that sits bad in people's mouth, but at least the Packers actually beat us. At least they came in with football reasons. They got the better of us on that day. I can deal with getting in a fair fight with somebody and losing. What I can't deal with is all these Cowboy fans running their mouth like we're just crying about a bad call and you're going to bring up tripping and all this other stuff. I want to shut you up. I'm not going to cry about it anymore. What's done is done. We're playing a wild card playoff game, and Brad Allen cost us the 1 seed, and we're gonna have to deal and live with that. But I'm gonna go with I want the Cowboys to win just so we could get another shot at them. But I honestly don't care. Honestly,
we have a lot of Lions fans saying they're going to root for the Packers just so we can get home field, to increase our chances of getting home field. But our buddy Henry says, I'd rather the Cowboys win because I just can't bring myself to root for the Packers.
Yeah, there will be no rooting, Henry. Like, it's not like a rooting thing. It's just kind of like, am I going to put emotion into, go Packers? No. What I'm going to do is what can you live with as a result? Like, you're just going to watch it and you're going to go, talk about these teams. I'm not going about these teams. And then one of them's going to win, and then you're going to have to live with it. I can live with the Cowboys moving on if we can get another shot at them.
Mm-hmm. And one good thing that plays to Green Bay's favor is Green Bay's weak against the run. In the last 3 weeks, the Cowboys have been winning their games through the air. They've not been able to run the ball effectively for some reason in the last 3 weeks. So, if Green Bay can somehow shut down that run and make CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott one-dimensional, I think that's going to increase Green Bay's chances, because if you can keep Jordan Love off the field, that's going to be good for Dallas. They're going to want to run the ball against this Packers defense, which is susceptible to the run, I think.
Yeah, and it can be. And one of the things I think is going to happen in this game is what I've noticed about these Cowboys is their defense is very fast. They're very fast on the defensive line, and if Green Bay does struggle anywhere, it is on that offensive line. And I predict, this is my prediction, not my feelings anymore, I predict that Micah Parsons is going to have a big game, and he's going to give Jordan Love a hard time because they don't have the correct to protect him. And I think that Dak and that offense at home is good enough to put points up against Green Bay, and I think they win handily. I think Dallas is going to win handily, and that's just my opinion, but it is what it is.
Right
there, it is.
Right.
Who do you think is going to win the game? There you go. Who do you think is going to win the game, Mike?
Dallas obviously is a heavy favorite. It would be a huge task. They're so hard, so tough at home. Obviously, it's going to be a hard task for the Packers, but I think the Packers can win this game. Who do I think will win? I think Dallas will win.
Yeah. But, these Packers, you got that. That's the crazy thing about young teams like that. Like, you can have these core guys that are, they're developing, they're getting better. And every team can say this, their last 2 years worth of draft picks, you're waiting for guys to pop. Well, Green Bay's got a whole bunch of young guys that are all kind of like, they're, borderline poppings, just like the Lions do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
Oh, I was just comparing and contrasting some of Green Bay's young players like Luke Musgrave. They're young wide receivers. On the Lions side, it's like Ifatu Melifonwu and like Derek Barnes, developing players that just progressively get better without having to get new players. If that makes sense.
Green Bay and Dallas kick off on Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be the game just before the Lions game. The Green Bay Packers are a underdog by 7.5, more than a touchdown.
Wow.
And that is the biggest spread. Pittsburgh and Buffalo is the biggest spread at 10, but 7.5, that's a pretty big spread for a playoff game. I think I like the Packers in the 7.5.
Wow.
I think Cowboys win the game, but Green Bay will cover, and I'm rooting for the Packers. They're the youngest team in the league.
They're the youngest team in the league, but I don't know if I could handle a playoff win with all these Packer fans in here that have been witness protection, and all of a sudden they're going to pop out. Well, guess what? I mean, that's the thing. Can the Packers get it done in Dallas? Dallas is undefeated at home, supposedly.
Yeah. It seems like an undoable task for them to beat Dallas and then beat San Francisco. If that happens and the Lions can win 2 games and those guys meet in the NFC title game, wow, what a storybook ending. And if that were happen, Jordan says Packers, because I'd still like the chance to get right on the days since countdown. Yes. Yeah, me too, buddy. Love that comment. We got
That means I've been watching a show for a while. That's an awesome comment.
Tim Gogegan says Packers for the win. Keep us with home field advantage. Trey says, I want to see Cowboys so we can beat them without their cheater refs. They'll just replace them with other cheater refs probably. Brent says Green Bay all the way. I hate Dallas more. Wow, I know those are the 2 teams I hate the most, and they're playing each other. So,
yeah, that's a good way to look at it, though. You know, I mean, you can't.
Sean says I hate the Cowboys more than any team. So down goes the Raccoons. For y'all you don't understand that, they're called the Dallas Raccoons because they get killed on the road.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like the takes that have no emotion put behind it, like where the people are like, okay, yeah, I'll root for the Packers, but I'm only rooting for the Packers because that gives us the best chance to continue home field advantage. So if they take out higher seeds, that just means that we can play more games at home. So I like that no emotion feeling on it. It's like, I don't really care about the teams. I just want the best chance for my team. So, and getting home field advantage would be the best chance. Supposedly, even though we're better on the road.
Yeah, the line, Dwayne, the line on the Lions is 3.5. Russ saw it at 3.5. Then I saw it at 3. Now it's back to 3.5. So the money going back and forth in Vegas is what shifts those lines, folks. Right now, 3.5. I don't like that half point. I want it to go back to 3. I'm not going to put any money on the Lions unless it goes back to 3.
That's a great one right there. That's a great that hook, man. That's what they do in Vegas. I'm learning about this hook, and that's it right there. You're trying to win the game, tide go down, and then that hook, you know you're gonna lose no matter what. That's awful. That's an awful thing. Damn.
Ken asks, so the Eagles beat the Bucks, and the Niners and the Lions beat the Rams. Okay, so the Eagles beat the Bucks and the Niners. And the Lions beat the Rams and beat Dallas. The NFC Championship would be in Detroit, correct? That would be correct because we would then be the highest seed at 3 because the Niners at 1 and the Cowboys at 2 would lose, correct?
If you want home field advantage, you're rooting against Dallas and against San Fran. Everybody else don't matter because we're the 3. So
that half point, also known as the hook, is brutal sometimes. We saw that in our predictions. And don't forget, folks, every Friday we make predictions on this show. Russell Wayne makes awesome predictions, and I do not. That is the trend. But that half point killed all 3 of us, you, myself, and Grove from And We Know Sports. That half point killed us on a few games on this last week. So,
and every week.
Yeah, that half point's where Vegas makes their money, buddy. For sure.
Those guys, they know what they're doing there. Those guys that are the handicappers, they know a lot about sports. I mean, we're into sports all the time. So, I mean, maybe we have a little bit of advantage on some people because we watch all these games and we pick all these games every week. So we pay attention, but that still doesn't do everything for you. You know, you can get close on some of these games, but when I'm looking at this Lions game this week, I think that there's a lot of emotional fans out there, obviously, because, you know, number 9's coming back. But what I've noticed is when I'm looking at the outside pundits, so the people, most of the outside people that don't have any emotion tied into it are picking the Lions because the Lions are the better team. They have a better roster from 1 to 53 and then into the practice squad. There's no doubt about that. Nobody would deny that. And they should win this game. They should win this game.
But they have better players than us at some very key positions, and that's what levels the field, right?
Where are their better players? I mean,
Matt Stafford's a better quarterback than Jared Goff. Can't deny that. Aaron Donald's the best defensive tackle on the planet. One of the commenters asked if he was going to face Penei Sewell. That probably wouldn't happen because Aaron Donald doesn't play edge. He plays interior, so it'll be up to Glasgow, Ragnow, and Jonah Jackson to handle him.
And I like that matchup. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are they better at center than us? No, Frank's better center. Are they better at left tackle than us? No. Taylor Decker's a better left tackle than their left tackle. Are they better at right tackle? No. Penei Sewell's better than their right tackle. Are they better at running back? No. Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery are better than Kyron Williams. Are they better at wide receiver? That could be a toss-up. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cooper Kupp. Okay. I mean, some might say Amon-Ra is Cooper Kupp in a different, I mean, you drafted Cooper Kupp in LA, then you draft Amon-Ra here. They seem like the same guy. Puka Nacua, Jameson Williams. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how much of an advantage they really have over us.
Well, we're favored by 3.5. So it's not like we're the home underdog in this game. We should win the game if we're favored to win the game. Vegas expects us to win the game.
So, but what I'm trying to dispel is the Lion fan that's out there that's just so scared just because Stafford is coming here that makes them a better team just because of Stafford. That doesn't work like that. He's one person on that team, and we've been playing other people that have been better. You know, but Dallas Cowboys are a better team than the LA Rams.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, Russ, look at this comment from Chrissy and Leroy Muldrow. Remember, Detroit Pistons didn't have any superstars in 2004, right? They were a more complete team, right? And that's your point right there. Sure, Stafford might be better. Sure, Cooper Kupp, Puka, these guys might be better. But as a team, as a whole, Lions got it in spades. And I love that comment. Thank you.
Yep, we have better linebackers. We have better safeties. We don't have better corners. I don't even know if we have better. We may even have just as good of corners. I mean, why isn't anybody talking about their corners?
Because they don't have any.
Because they don't have any. So, I mean, yeah, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right?
And how about this? Oh, sorry.
Whoa,
that's
Jerry.
Sorry, that's the wrong one.
Jerry put in the biography. You can get that on Amazon. No, I'm kidding.
Jordan says J-Mo is still an X factor for us that can be used unexpectedly, like in a jet sweep. And that's something that we haven't even talked about, right? And Khalif Raymond probably not going to play to return punts. So who's going to return punts? Khalil Dorsey? I only saw him.
Jameson Williams is going to. You know, I love Jeremy Ballrick because he's going to be doing some shows here on this network soon. We're going to work out those times and everything like that. But when you brought up Jameson Williams, he just gives you, no, he ain't going to return punts. He'll return punts. He returned punts in school. That would be absolutely something that he could do. Brian Branch can return punts. Khalil Dorsey can return punts. We're not worried about punt returner. We love having Khalif Raymond. Raymond's awesome, but we have other guys that can do it. And Jameson Williams will also get Khalif Raymond's extra targets as a wide receiver too, which I don't know. So more and more I think about this the last couple of weeks, Mike, I think this is by design. Not guys getting injured, but the fact that doesn't it seem like Jameson Williams, you know, blocking wise, being out there 40, 50, 60 snaps for the last 6 weeks, doesn't it seem like he's been ready for the last 6 weeks? And everyone goes, man, why aren't they targeting him more than 5 times a game? Well, you might find out on Sunday, because if they target this kid 13 times, there's a good chance he might score 2 or 3 touchdowns. And there's data to back that up too.
And I will summarize Jerry's novel here. That basically he's saying he don't want to have to listen to Packer fans. If they were to beat Dallas and the Niners and come to Detroit, we would never hear the end of it from the Packer fans. And it's just that he'd rather go on the road and play San Francisco than have to risk losing to the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. So I love that take, Jerry. Thank you. You can catch Jerry's next tape. It's airing on Netflix in a 3-part series.
Right there. So this is what you're experiencing, Jerry, a little bit right here. And I totally understand it, because this is going to be the last year of and accept, like, a Lion fan wouldn't accept that we lost to Stafford. If we get past Stafford and we get into the second round, win the first playoff games, this is the 1 year where I think that some hardcore Lion fans would give the Lions a mulligan to lose a playoff game, because you won the division for the first time in 30 years, and then you won a playoff game for the first time in 30 years, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of Lion fans would be like, okay, just like the Packer fans. If the Packer fans get bounced in the first round, is there a Packer fan that's out there that's going to be like, oh, they give up? No. We got the youngest team in the NFL. Nobody expected us to do shit. Thought we were going to win 6 or 7 games. Made it to the playoffs. Yay. Win for the Packers. So if the Lions can beat Stafford, they're going to be in that same position. You go to the second round, all the Lion fans will be like, yes, successful season. Now, you want to win the Super Bowl. You want more. Everybody wants more. But they would give them a pass after beating Stafford. They will not give them a pass if they lose to Stafford, guys. This is danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. Yeah, the danger zone. Matt Stafford, Ford Field. That's danger. You got to get past that game so you can enjoy your off season.
And our old friend Robert's in here. He's a great Packer fan, but a terrible smack talker. Or maybe J-Mo just can't get open. Seems simple. 60 snaps and only 5 looks. Seems hinky. He said hanky, but I know he meant hinky.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Russ? Maybe J-Mo just sucks.
I think that Robert doesn't watch Lions games. I think that he looks at the box score.
Good answer. Right. I love this comment from Gun Guy. Donovan Peoples-Jones was a return man. Maybe he's the guy who steps in and returns punt and Khalif Raymond's.
I like that.
That's a great call.
And the thing is, like let me go back to Robert's point right there. Now, Robert, here's something. The reason I said that was because every 6 times that Jameson touches the ball, he scores. So that kind of defeats your whole purpose right there. It's a choice thing. There's a thing called tape in the NFL. And if they don't have any tape, and this team goes on a run with a stud player that you can't cover, and they won't figure it out until next year, that's a possibility. It happens every playoff. Every single playoff. Somebody that nobody expected to see all of a sudden turns into a stud. And, where'd this guy come from? Joe Flacco's one of them. Joe Flacco, you could look through every single one of his regular season stats. He's okay, blah, blah, blah. But when he went on that Super Bowl run, he turned into Tom Brady for 3 games and was, whoa, where did Joe Flacco? Touchdown, yeah. Super Bowl. Out of nowhere. And then came back down to earth the next year.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget, folks, tomorrow is Lions Wednesday. We're going to talk all Lions tomorrow. We're going to do our Lion of the Week. I know I've got my nominee for Lion of the Week already set up for tomorrow's show. And then on Thursday, we're going to give out some awards, the Villain Squad Awards. We're trying to come up with a name, maybe the Villy. I don't know.
GT's way better at coming up with names like that.
No, we'll let GT from Man We Know Sports come up with the name for it. But we're going to give out some awards, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. That'll be our opinions. We hope you'll join us all for that. And then, of course, Friday we'll be making predictions on these games. The over-under for the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions, 51.5. The teams would have to score each a 26-point clip to place that over. That seems pretty doable. I mean, I could see 34-28, 31-28. I mean, we could see, I definitely see these teams. The over is a real possibility, even though that's a really high over for betting standards. So put it in the comments. Let us know what you think. I got one more topic before we get off of here today, Russ. I wanted to talk about head coaching openings that are in the NFL. You want to talk about that today, or do you want to let that play out? Maybe we'll talk about that on Thursday, because there are a few more jobs that may come open between now and then. What do you think? It's
possible. It's possible.
Mm-hmm. let's talk about let's tell you what we'll do. We'll talk about the jobs that we know are open. That is the Los Angeles Chargers. And the reason this is relevant, folks, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, two of the front-running candidates for head coaching jobs at some of these spots, right? We know that Atlanta fired Arthur Smith. Carolina fired Frank Reich. Chargers fired Brandon Staley. Those are three that we know are open. Washington just fired Ron Rivera. We're about to see Dennis Allen from New Orleans get fired if he hasn't already. Has he been fired yet? I'm
not 100% sure.
I'm 100% sure that he's going to. So that is 5 that are locks. Some with a question mark here near him. New England parting ways with the greatest coach of all time. And then if they do, Tennessee, Mike Vrabel, a leading candidate to get the job. He hasn't even lost his other job yet. Tennessee with a question mark. Tampa Bay, they win their division, yet they're still in the conversation to fire Todd Bowles. I think by winning the division, Todd Bowles has bought himself another year. I would be very surprised if that happens. I'd also be very surprised if the Las Vegas Raiders get a new coach. After what happened with Rich Bisaccia last year, he gets them to the playoffs. He wins 5 of 6 down the stretch, and they don't retain him. And the fans went goo goo gaga about that, and they hired Josh McDaniels, who washed out before the season ended. I think they're going to stick with Antonio Pierce. The players want him. A lot of the pundits think it's a great idea too. Mark Davis doesn't seem that smart to me if you just look at his haircut. So I think that he's going to retain Antonio Pierce in Las Vegas. I also think Tampa keeps their job. I think Robert Saleh is a non-issue. They're going to keep him in New York as well. The real question mark here is Chicago. Does Ryan Poles retain Matt Eberflus? Ever since he took over the defense, that defense rocketed to a top 10 defense. He's definitely a good coach. We know the Bears hate offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. He's probably a goner. But will Eberflus go as well, not being a Ryan Poles hire? So it's really some intriguing stuff. We'd like to know who you think will fill these coaching positions as well. Put it in the comments. Let us know. Russ, what do you think about all that?
Well, Jeremy B says that Mark Davis wanted Gruden. Brady wants hardball.
Jeremy usually has great takes. That's a terrible take. John Gruden is persona non grata with that team. No way are they going to hire John Gruden. He might get a staff position somewhere, but he won't get a head coaching job. He has a pending lawsuit against the league right now, a lot like Brian Flores. So it would be very surprising if they were to get a head coaching job. Whether they deserve it, whether they'd be good at it or not, doesn't matter. The extenuating circumstances might rule those candidates out.
Look at that.
Oh, Detroit, Jesus in the house.
Are you kidding
me?
me?
Blue, Melvin.
What did we do to deserve this? The blessings are here.
We're going to buy the kneecap off.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, as it comes to these Chicago Bears, man, what do you think? Do you think there's a possibility that Eberflus, maybe they hire a coach that they want and Eberflus just goes and handles the defense? Do you think there's a chance that Eberflus gets demoted? Any chance? Just demoted, have him since he did such a good job with the defense, like you said.
Who would do that? Who would do that?
Would the Bears consider just demoting Eberflus down to defensive coordinator and bringing in their guy and let Eberflus run the defense?
But if you're Matt Eberflus, would you do that? Would anybody do that? I wouldn't do that. Oh,
they would have to be.
We don't want you to be the head coach anymore.
It would have to be like Harbaugh or somebody that was like a very high profile for him to step back. But it's not impossible. Maybe it's not probable. It's just spitballing off the top of my head. Maybe I'm off. Melvin says, "Go blue." Me as a crusty Buckeye fan, I was happy to win some money off those guys yesterday. I wiped my tears with $100 bill. I loved it. It was great.
Brian says, Eberflus, get him out of there. All right. And Melvin, to the point, says demotions don't happen, bro, and no head coach would go for that. That's exactly what I'm saying right there. No way if I'm Matt Eberflus, would I accept, I'm not going to be the coach anymore, but I'll keep being the defensive coach. No. He'll go and he'll become.
It would be Matt Eberflus would go and be fired, right? And then he'd go around and go around the little sewer. If nobody hired him, then maybe he might come back and take the job as a settle. I totally get where you and Melvin are coming from right there. I'm just spitballing here, guys. I'm not trying to get myself laughed off my own show.
No, right. And Matt Eberflus is a dynamite defensive coordinator. If they fire him, he'll get snatched up quick. Teams will fire their defensive coordinator to get him.
Well, if we lose Aaron Glenn, would you take Eberflus as a defensive coordinator here?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Then. You look at what he did with a thin roster in Indy. You look at what he did with a thin roster in Chicago. He could do a lot with our thin roster on defense. Absolutely.
Instantaneous, right, dude? I'm just blown away. I'm happy to see Melvin in the comments right there.
Yeah, and Jeremy B says he's just reporting what was been leaked out of Raiders camp, and that's fine. And I respect that. I'm just giving you my opinion. I don't ever see that happening. Gruden going back to the Raiders in any capacity this year for sure. He might get a coordinator. I think John Gruden's an outstanding coach.
Well, let's see what Quay Walker says about
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Okay, so that's what that's what I think the Raiders fans would be like too. I mean, let's get Gruden back in there, and I'm ready to be hurt again.
Right.
Poor guy.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, that's why we want to play the Cowboys again. Right there.
Here's a question for you. If you were a potential head coach, if you were Ben Johnson, what job would you want? And I will start. Put it in the comments. Let us know of these available jobs, not the ones that aren't available yet, like Chicago or Tampa, just the ones that are available. And we'll start with the Chargers, the Falcons, the Panthers. I'm going to put the Saints in there because it's a given that cat's gone. And Washington. Which team would you want the most? And I know everybody wants to say Justin Herbert, but for me, it's absolutely the Atlanta Falcons. And I'll tell you why. They have young, skill position players. Drake London, Bijan Robinson. They have a frontline tight end in Kyle Pitts. All they need is a quarterback. All they need is a frontline quarterback, and that team gets exponentially better. They have some great pieces on defense. They could build up that defense. You have an owner in Arthur Blank who doesn't meddle. He leaves him alone. He gave Art Smith 3 years. He let him play out his 3-year contract. All 3 years, he had 10 losses. You gotta go. He stayed out of it. He let him do his thing. He let him buy the groceries and cook the meal, and it tasted like shit. So now you're gone. That, to me, is the most enticing job. If you play in a weak-ass division, too, NFC South is there for the taking. That, to me, is the most appetizing job in this list. Let us know what you think. Russ, what do you think?
I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. I would like to say that, I would say the second place one would be the New Orleans Saints job because you could go get your own quarterback and they got some players that were, but I actually agree with you. Atlanta Falcons with, they got a first round pick on a tight end that, you could take Kyle Pitts, you could take Bijan Robinson, the good running game. You go take a quarterback, especially if the Lions don't end up, extending Goff. I believe that if Ben Johnson goes somewhere, there's a good chance that Jared Goff might go to that place. So imagine Jared Goff behind that offensive line with those running backs and those playmakers down in Atlanta. And I think that would be a package deal. If Ben Johnson's going anywhere, I really think that the best move for him is to stay, because as young as he is, and, it's nice that people are interested in him, but he is still a young guy that has a really good quarterback, an awesome offensive mind, and playmakers all over the place. It's a no wonder why this offense works pretty well, and it isn't all him. So I think there's part of him that might be nervous to take that head coaching job because he wants to learn more underneath of the regime that he's under right now. And I think that's not me being a homer either. That is the reason that he didn't take the job last year. It's like there's still a lot for him to be able to learn in this, and he's young. I mean, he could be an offensive coordinator for 2 more years, and he would still be the hottest commodity that's out there, especially with this offense is going to be awesome, whether he's here or not. It isn't all Ben Johnson with this often awesome offensive line, all these playmakers. And so I think the best move is for him to stay.
Jeffrey Addison says he thinks the Panthers is the best job out there because there will be more high draft picks to build with. Chad thinks a lot of people thinking the Chargers. Chad says Chargers. Melvin thinks Chargers also. Because talking to my point about Atlanta, it's a huge all they need is a quarterback. They could go his whole tenure needing that quarterback. Correct. Even if they were to draft one, that quarterback's then going to have to develop. The Chargers team is set up pretty nice, plus the weather. If you ever been to SoCal, that's pretty amazing down there. So, but let's look at that though. You've got an owner, Dean Spanos. He's cheap, and players don't like him. The fans don't like him. Nobody comes to see your team in SoFi. You have to split the stadium with another team. I'm just not sure. You got to play in the same division with Patrick Mahomes. I get what you're saying, though, Melvin, and I appreciate the comment.
But just talent-wise, I can agree with him, though. I mean, that team should have been loaded, man. They had so much damn talent on offense and defense. They should have won 13 games this year, and they just shit the bed.
Right, and they blame that on Brandon Staley. But Brandon Staley made the playoffs the year before. And the year before that, he went for the win instead of the tie, or he would have made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. So Justin Herbert with a 500 record as a quarterback, I think he's overhyped. I think he's definitely overrated. I said on this show once that Josh Allen was overrated. I walked that statement back. I was wrong. Josh Allen's an absolute stud. Justin Herbert might be overrated.
Well, definitely having a whole off season to stay on that take, and that's all right. That's all right, man. You have to walk when you're here live every day, and you make lots and lots of opinions. You got to walk a lot of things back. I thought that the Vikings defense was going to be trash all year, and they ended up. Brian Flores made me eat my words. You know, he took a bunch of has-beens and nobodies and turned it into a decent defense.
Top 10. Jeremy B says Panthers have called to interview both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. And we know Ben Johnson, a native of the North Carolina area. So you got Bryce Young. You don't have a lot. You got an owner that throws drinks on people, but weather in North Carolina is beautiful, just like it is in Atlanta. He's from that area. And if he feels this is his time, that might be a good move for him because that owner might give him some leeway knowing what he's got to work with.
Yeah, I mean, would you really want to leave this job right here to go to a place that doesn't have a first-round pick that traded the first pick overall for Bryce Young, a 5'2" quarterback that won't be in the league in 3 years because he'll be dead because a 350-pound lineman will land on him? And do you really want to be? Well, who's their general manager down there? Who are they gonna? I mean,
for who?
For Carolina.
They fired him. They fired Reich and
okay.
They fired the general manager. They don't have one right at the moment.
Now they have one of those business management teams that go out and find their football personnel. Kind of reminds me of what Sheila did way back when they were looking for Spielman and everything. So maybe it's the right move, but I wouldn't want the Carolina job.
No.
Why would you want to? Would you want to leave a Super Bowl contending team?
But
you can build?
Russ, as you know, I've spent most of my adult life in management. Okay. And in management, we learn things. It's called manager skill. And one thing that rings true more than anything, it's not, people don't quit their jobs. They quit their bosses. Right. And who would want to work for David Tepper? This guy's a jerk. Melvin says Tepper is the new Dan Snyder. All right. People don't quit their jobs. They quit their bosses. And I wouldn't want to work for that guy.
Sell the team, bro. Sell.
I know that was originally for the Lions on that pick right there. But that's what they're saying down there in Carolina.
Sell the team, bro. Sell the team.
That guy's gonna sell the team. And by the way, he was fined $300,000 for throwing a drink on a fan, and to a guy that's worth over $20 billion. That's like pocket change, man.
Would you say it was? Was that like the
$1?
equivalent?
Oh, it breaks down to the average mean in the United States for you and I. That breaks down to a fine of $1.77.
Man, if I only had to pay $1.77 to disrespect people, I'd be throwing my drinks on people all the time.
Dude, I would pay $1.77 to throw a drink on Robert Bertana.
$1.77. Is he clowning you? Is
Maybe
he clowning us?
I'd even go as high as $2. No, he's just a Packer fan that talks smack. I love him. Are you kidding?
Okay, good. I mean, that's what we expect, right? Oh man, Herbert needs more support from the team. He has good talent. Boy, that sounds like Matt Stafford from 3 years ago, if I've ever heard. They're gonna trade him to the Rams.
The New Orleans job, they're the oldest team in the NFL. They have some young pieces, but they have no quarterback. Derek Carr's a bum. And now you just signed him to 3 years? He's a freaking bum. And they're the oldest team in the NFL. Washington, dumpster fire. I know they got a new owner, but they have the worst facilities in the entire NFL. And they're in a real legitimate rebuild. And they have no quarterback. So I don't like the Washington job. I don't like the New Orleans job, even though New Orleans is an incredible city. I think those are the least desirable jobs to me.
So we did cover this a little bit. Do you want to comment on something here from Michael Wood? You may have already covered this, but Dennis Allen lost the team and is a Saints fan. I find it completely disrespectful for what Winston did Sunday.
Yeah. It adds insult to injury to Arthur Smith losing his job, running up the score like that. Dennis Allen didn't call him, but the players took it on themselves to humiliate the other team. That is a sign that you've lost your team, right? A Dan Campbell-led team would never do that. A Bill Belichick team, heads would roll if someone did that. Chad says an AG Staley reunion. Sorry, Chad, they fired Deuce Staley too. So even if AG were to go to Carolina, there'd be no Staley there.
Now, you hit this one up at 10:58 right here. I love Mr. 425 defense guy. You had that star. Did we hit that yet?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, Mr.
I took the stars off when they were so far up the feed that wasn't relevant anymore. Like people still answering the question, how scared are you of Matt Stafford on a 1 to 10 scale?
Well, Henry, I love that you love this guy because I love making these little things right here. So I'm just for you, I'm going to give you Mr. 425 defense guy.
Oh my God, it's a 425 defense. All you gotta do is blitz more. All they gotta do is fire Aaron Glenn, and then you can start winning again. They're so stupid.
Okay, there you go. 425 defense guy right there. He can fix it. Everything that's wrong with the Lions, and it's ever been wrong with the Lions.
I heard he's starting a podcast.
I'm sure. Everybody that overanalyzes has a podcast like us. We overanalyze stuff every single day right here. But let's hear what Christopher Walken has to say about it.
It reminds me of a football show, Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. in the mornings. You should watch it because it could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life.
Apparently, Football Talk with Russell Wayne can be good for your life, your entire life. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you.
Jeffrey says, in management, you have to hire, train, develop, and promote your team. We may see how good Campbell is at this if BJ and AG leave. Right. And so it begins the Dan Campbell coaching tree. Did you ever think you'd hear that? Did you ever think you'd hear a Lions coach even have a coaching tree?
Well, nobody, as a matter of fact, as long as I've been watching the Lions, people don't leave the Lions organization and get promotions. As a matter of fact, this is where your career comes to die. When you get your head coaching job here, you come here, you coach, and then you don't ever be heard from again. I mean, I think Jim Caldwell was like somebody that, they like an advice guy or something, an advisor. Like he couldn't even get a coaching job after he left here.
No, but they don't become head coaches. That's for sure. Jim Schwartz actually has a chance this offseason to be the first Lions coach to be a head coach again after leaving the Lions. So that he certainly deserves a shot. I thought he was a great coach here in Detroit. I did not like it when we parted with Jim Schwartz. And the way what he's done with that Cleveland defense this year, he's definitely going to get some looks in the coaching search in the offseason for sure.
He had a lot to learn. I think that his second time around that you could see Jim Schwartz being a little bit better this time, because he did make some big boo-boos, like throwing out a flag when he didn't have any timeouts, like those types of like in-game. Well, those are mental that's just like your coach can't do that. You know,
but Dan Campbell's done that 20 times.
That not made a mistake like that where
you
want
me to start calling him out? He's made mistakes that are on that level. Many, more than Schwartz ever did.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. That's an interesting take right there, because I've never seen like the thing that where he tried to challenge a play when he didn't have any challenges. That's just dumb.
The challenge rule was brand new then. It was brand new.
So he didn't have any challenges. But I'm not trying to defend or do that. You know what? Don't come at me like this is the reason they got rid of him. This is the reason why they moved on to Jim Caldwell at that point, because it wasn't good enough. You know, they felt like they peaked with Schwartz, just like when they got rid of Caldwell. They got rid of him after a 9-7 season. It's because that 9-7 really wasn't good enough. Even though Bob Quinn was the worst hire ever, Matt Patricia was the worst hire ever, it still wasn't a bad move to get rid of Caldwell. You weren't going to win any titles playing Marty ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Go ahead. You're not going to win any titles winning Marty ball. I didn't want to cut that off. Keep going with that. I love that.
Well, that's what Caldwell was. He was the exact opposite of Dan Campbell, where you get the 4th and inches and he's like, I better punt it because I got to put him in a bad position. And then they drive down the field and win. Where Dan Campbell's like, whatever, 4th and 7, we're going for it. We don't care. We're going to win this game. Like,
we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Melvin says Schwartz didn't install accountability with the team. I think he learns that if he gets a second time. It's an interesting take.
See, Melvin's way better at putting that. That's exactly where I was wanting to go with that. I think that he's going to be way better second time around. You learn it. You know, you go back. You get knocked down, you get back up, and you take another shot at it. I think he will be better this time around.
Mm-hmm. Frank says Dan Campbell has brass balls, but sometimes his decisions bite us. But you live up, but we're okay with that, aren't we, Russ?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like that was, I mean, you got to live with the cowboy or die with the cow. Well, I know some of those decisions, they kind of bite us in the ass. Well, of course they do. That's the reason you risk it. Because it's either going to bite you in the ass or it's going to put you in an advantage you wouldn't have had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's there you go. That's a cowboy.
And like Paul says, he's an analytics nightmare, but he's a master motivator.
Yeah. The funny thing is, analytics wise, he usually does the things right to the analytics. It's the thing where people kick the ball on 4th downs, that actually goes against analytic numbers. Like when it's 4th and 1 and they kick it, they actually tell you have a better chance to get the first down, no matter where you're at on the field. To win the game, you get that first down, your chances to win the game go up by like 10%. If you punt the ball, it doesn't really mess with that number at all. That's why he's going for it, because the analytics say yes. Yes. 4th and 5 or less is yes. You have a better chance of.
And Caldwell was very conservative. And Corey's point here says being too conservative was his downfall, but people forget we went to the playoffs with him. We got to show him some respect. And he was a player's coach. The players loved Jim Caldwell. I think his final season, he went 9-7, I think. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were scratching their heads. This horrible franchise is coming out the other end with 9 wins. And why would you? I mean, he's building. We were ascending, and then you make a coaching change, and it just falls right off. So,
well, let's go back to that before we cherry pick and say, oh well, we had a 9-7 season. If you go back and you revisit that, this team was 9-4. Then they were 9-5. Then they were 9-6. Then they were 9-7, backed their ass into the playoffs, and then got housed by the Seattle Seahawks. So let's not sugarcoat this Jim Caldwell thing, because he started 9-4, and then the team's 5 and out. That's not how you win. You got to turn your team around. That's something where you look at, that's an example of losing the team. They may have liked them all that they wanted, but you lose 5 games in a row. That's something wrong with coaching. That isn't a whole bunch of players not getting their shit together. You got to get a better game plan together and win one of those games. One of the things that's great about Dan Campbell is he doesn't lose 2 games in a row. He loses, he immediately makes adjustments, and then goes and smacks the next team. It's usually a beatdown of the team, like this last week. You lose to Dallas, and then you go put it to the Vikings.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, we can micromanage, and what we're talking about. This is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Every day, 11 a.m. We're on here talking football, talking about Aaron Glenn, and we're talking about Ben Johnson possibly getting new jobs in the NFL. And I think that if Aaron Glenn gets his head coaching job, and I'm calling it right now, it's Calvin Shepard is our next defensive coordinator. We promote from within, and that's just what we do. It's the exact same thing that happened with Ben Johnson too. He was the tight ends coach, and then he became the offensive coordinator. If Aaron Glenn leaves, he's going to go from the defensive coordinator to the head coach. Then we're going to promote our linebackers coach, Calvin Shepard, and then they're going to promote somebody else that was just like, one of the smaller position coaches into where Calvin Shepard was.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And if we lose Ben Johnson, then who is it? But
I don't know about that one.
Antoine Randall.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know if they have as clear of an answer on the offensive side. I think Deuce Staley was the guy, and then he went and got a different job as running back coach in Carolina. But so I don't know what it is on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, maybe it's Steve Hyden. Maybe they just just go with the next tight end coach, make him the offensive coordinator. But I don't think they're going to lose Ben Johnson, because I think Ben Johnson's too smart to go and take a head coaching job now while he's still learning on the job.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, none of us know what's in his head. None of us know what's in his heart, right? We don't know. But
I don't know.
A guy as young as him, they're just clamoring for him. He's going to get a boatload of money for a first-time head coach, unless he goes to the Chargers. If I was him, I would jump on the Atlanta job if I'm him.
If he gets that offer. I like what he did last year. Really, I get my opinion on Ben, him staying by what he did last year. Hey, I got unfinished business here. Now, if we win the Super Bowl, it's a lock. I mean, both of them should be gone. That's what happens in the NFL. You lose your coordinators when you win the Super Bowl. But outside of winning the Super Bowl, he's got unfinished business here. He even said it. Like, that's out of his mouth, not my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there's business, I think he'll be here.
Right on. So we're about to wrap this up, Russ, or are we going to keep going? I like going.
I mean, if you got something in there, anybody got a comment in here? We've kind of exhausted everything that we were.
Paul Jones says maybe Teddy Two Gloves could be a potential young coach coming up. He certainly wouldn't get a coordinator position that fast, but they might add him to the staff. Michael Wood says Ben will stay. He predicts Ben will stay.
That's my man right there, Michael. That's my guy. Hey, I'm gonna go use the facilities. I'll be right back. Hit these comments for a second. I'll be right back.
All right. Wow. Corey says, I hear Carolina owner will throw Ben Johnson a blank paycheck. I think he is gone. Wow. Wouldn't that be something? Get a blank check to fill out and pretty much name your price. Ooh-wee. Frank says, I think the Lions are dangerous in the playoffs this year. They are a dangerous team. They are. They're fuel, pure octane. That Dallas debacle could be the thing that catapults us over the top. That could be the fuel, as Dan Campbell said, the pure octane, the fuel that pushes this team to a real, legitimate Super Bowl run. We have some deficiencies on defense. There's no doubt about that. The secondary is questionable and could be exposed. But just like any other team in the league, if you can generate a pass rush, you can mitigate that. And that's what the Lions are going to have to do. And I know a lot of people are down on Aaron Glenn. I just don't get it. The players would run through a wall for this guy, okay? It comes down to your philosophy. Like the meme guy, the fat guy with the cheesy poo saying, just fire Aaron Glenn. A lot of people, it's easy to play armchair quarterback. But, folks, this is the NFL. It's not a pillow fight, okay? And if you can motivate your players to give everything they have for you, the schematical things can be worked out. Those things can be adjusted. It's the motivating factors that are so hard for coaches to get to these, let's face it, spoiled millionaire athletes. That's what they are. They're spoiled with the money they make in comparison to the money that you and I make. So why would you fire Aaron Glenn at all when you went from 3 wins to 9 wins to now 12 wins? Your defense went from 32 to 26 to now 12. That's a marked improvement. Why would you fire Aaron Glenn? I don't want to sound too harsh, but you just don't know football if you think they're gonna fire Aaron Glenn. There's no way that's gonna happen. He's gonna get poached by another team, or he's gonna stay a Lion. That's it. Those are your 2 options here. If you think otherwise, you don't know football.
What did somebody get on a fire Aaron Glenn again?
You're watching the Main Event Mike show on the Main Event 365 network. Oh, Russ is back. No, just kidding, Russ. Everything's going fine.
No, I was just wondering. I mean, well, I heard what you were talking about. Right? Did somebody say fire Aaron Glenn? Was that a?
No, I was scraping for a topic, so I pulled one out of my butt.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there has been a lot. I made that thing because there were so many people that were wanting to fire Aaron Glenn after all 5 of the losses. Like, I mean, it was like clockwork. As soon as it was like, oh, I told you that Aaron Glenn was garbage. It's like, nah, well, he lost a game and we're 8-2. They should still fire him. I can't believe they're all 8. They're 8-2, guy. Oh, they haven't played anybody yet. I'm like, ugh. Nice. All right. Scraping for top.
And the roster isn't that good. To Corey's point here, I've been telling people that AG's done well with what we have. People act like we just have this top talent everywhere defensively. We don't. We have a very thin roster defensively. There's unproven guys. There's guys that we believe in, guys that Dan Campbell believes in. But 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks, that's a crapshoot in the NFL.
Right.
We're getting the most out of those crapshoot players that can be got, in my opinion. So absolutely, AG's doing a great job.
And it's that young defense. I mean, when you look at that, something I brought up earlier in the season, which is the development of players. You know, you're looking at when they got here in 21, it was like you scraped the roster down to almost the studs. You kept a couple of the players from the old regime, and all those guys were on the offensive side of the ball. TJ Hawkinson was still here, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, and then they drafted Penei Sewell. There's the core of the team with Jared Goff. And then you added to that. Then they doubled down and went more offense and like completed the offense and left the cupboard completely bare. In 21, like it was like a undrafted free agent party right at the beginning. You remember that? It was just kind of like, oh, here's Jerry Jacobs and this guy and that guy. All of these guys, man, and Aaron Glenn did the best he could with a bunch of guys that weren't drafted, like guys, second chance guys like Romeo Okwara and Charles Harris. Like nobody wanted these guys. Aaron Glenn made it work.
The great Bill Parcells said once, it's a lot easier to get worse at a position than it is to get better at a position. And Henry here says it could be a lot worse. Just ask the Eagles. Holy cow, Dwayne, with breaking news. Titans just fired Mike Vrabel. So I can put an asterisk now next to the Tennessee, take away that question mark. The Tennessee Titans now in open position.
Well, there's a lock. As soon as they fire Bill Belichick, Vrabel's going to New England. Right. It's already done.
And that goes to the point we just made. A lot easier to get worse at a position. Mike Vrabel, damn good coach. You talk about thin rosters. Look what he's done with a thin. I mean, he's a good coach. That one. I think that Mike Vrabel, if Belichick goes, is the shoe-in for the New England job, like everyone's saying. But I'm just kind of stymied by that. I would keep Coach Vrabel if I were the Tennessee Titans.
Well, it ain't going there anymore. I mean, people make bad decisions every once in a while, right? You know, kind of like the Philadelphia Eagles making Matt Patricia their defensive coordinator. How'd that work out for you? Hey, Eagles. How'd that work out for you? How about that defense? I'm so glad we drafted Jalen Carter in the first round and you got Matt Patricia wielding all that power. Nice. Have fun getting bounced in the first round because your team's dog water.
Mm-hmm. We're going to bite a kneecap off?
Nope, not you guys. I've never been I hope that they somehow make it past the first round. We make it past the first round so we can bounce those guys and we can go through the mats. That's what I want. I want to go through the Matt Stafford. I like this is great. Matt Stafford, right? Matt Patricia. And then what?
Matt LaFleur.
And then Matt LaFleur in the NFC Championship. Yeah, well, Packers ain't going to make it that far. We scared of Jordan Love? No, we're not scared of Jordan Love. Well, maybe we are. Maybe we are.
Sarah says, Oprah handing out terminations like cars this week. That's a pink slip for you and a pink slip for you. Paul Jones says, Patriots and Titans coach trade? I could totally see Bill taking that Titans job. I don't know.
Well, they fired him, so there is no trade anymore. So that one goes out.
No, but Belichick hasn't been released from the Patriots yet. So
yeah, so you can't trade for a free agent. They don't need to trade for him because he's fired. They could just hire him.
Is it time for that elevator music?
Oh, wait a minute. There we go. You want to be putting into the background right here?
Hey, baby, you're listening to Night Jams.
Well, let me do the first closeout right here. Okay, we're gonna do the first closeout. We like to do this like the Marvel Comics movies right here. But you have been watching Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Faith, family, and football. That's our motto right here. Faith coming first. If you're one of the people that help us out in our give section, NTC Give, we were able to help out 400 families for Thanksgiving, and our church served those families. And then for Christmas, we were able to bless almost 100 families with full Christmases. This isn't like we didn't just hand them one G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip. They got entire Christmases for their families. And it was a lot because of people who are donating in our little link that's in there, because we believe faith, family, football, and we believe in serving our community. And that's first. Faith, family, and football, that's the easy part. You know, we love football, so we just come here and talk football. Mike had an opportunity to go to the game with his grandson, and that's just practicing what we preach right there. So we appreciate everybody that comes onto here, and I'm going to leave you with this first part. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you, and may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again. And that'll be tomorrow. That's going to be Lions Talk with Russell Wayne and my compadre, Main Event Mike. Peace out.
It reminds me of a football show, Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. in the mornings. You should watch it because it could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifati Malafanu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team, and I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
Oh, and this is the music right here that Mike was talking about, the background music. Okay, and I throw myself behind here. Thank you for watching PFF Tuesday. We got playoff football this week. If you didn't get a chance to subscribe to the YouTube channel, I'm going to throw that into the link right now. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, David, Paul, Dwayne, Jordan, Jerome, Frank, Jay Smooth, Corey, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Frank. Michael. Lots of comments in here today. Melvin. It was good to see you in there.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Y'all have a great day.